Here comes another one of my spontaneous ideas. Earlier this year, I picked up another hobby which I was interested in for a while, that being 3D printing. And a part of that interest was shared with multi-filament 3D prints, which I think are pretty cool because they involve a lot of neat engineering stuff. Those prints are especially useful if you want to make objects with 2 or more different materials at the same time. But that's another discussion and we're not here for that. You see, with multi-filament 3D prints, you are also able to turn images into something like a 2.5D print, where you have an almost flat 3D print that involves multiple colors. This way you can make stuff like posters, keychains, bookmarks, signs, or other neat things. There's also this thing called Lithophane 3D printing, which is pretty similar. You take an image and transform it into a 3D model that you usually only print in white. And if you shine a light through it, you will be able to see the image that you picked. This works because light shines less through thicker parts of the print, creating darker areas. But going back to the 2.5D prints, even with only 2 colors and a single layer swap, you can actually get multiple shades of a color. This happens because the color sitting on top can be translucent depending on how many layers are applied and how thick each layer is. So where am I going with this? Well, there's a single very well-known app which, just like Velcro, Photoshop and Jacuzzi, has become associated with the very definition of 2.5D multicolored 3D prints, as many people just call them HueForge prints. HueForge has become the industry standard for converting images into 3D models that you can print for this purpose. And there aren't a lot of alternatives. Besides, the alternatives that exist aren't even that good from what I could find. HueForge costs money, especially if you want to make commercial 3D prints, which you might not even be able to afford. And even though I don't want to undermine the work they put into HueForge, because I think it's reasonably priced, I'm still a cheapskate and decided that I'm going to take it into my own hands and make an app that can create my own prints without having to pay. And while I'm at it, make it free and open source as well. This way the community can help me maintain it after my initial efforts. There was also this excitement that I had while thinking about it, because I really liked the idea of making something cool and useful for the 3D printing community, even if it wasn't going to become very popular. So I got to work. If you remember how I said you can get multiple shades of the same colored filament because of the thickness and some other of its properties, well, HueForge calls that concept the transmission distance value, which is different for different filaments. You can find more about it on their website, where they go into detail about how the whole thing works. The thing about it is that HueForge predicts how the colors blend and makes the layers automatically, based on this transmission distance value information that they have about your filament. Since I didn't want to spend a lot of time testing this type of automation, which is very hard to achieve, I decided to let it be done manually by the user in my app. But I think we skipped a few steps. Before all of that, the user needs to upload their image into the app. And since images can have up to 16 million different colors, I cannot really build the layers based on that yet. So I will have a 2D mode in which the user can edit and apply a bunch of different effects and algorithms onto the image to prepare it for the next step. The most important thing here is being able to reduce the number of colors in the image based on a predefined color palette, or on what the app decides. You can also choose the type of color reduction algorithm and the number of colors in the final result. Another pretty neat thing here is the ability to denoise the image, which I called de-dithering. This isn't actually a real word, but back when I made it, in my mind the primary scope was to revert the dithering that happens when 2 different colors blend together, hence the name de-dithering. Other basic things in this mode are being able to undo and redo your work, crop the image, adjust a bunch of properties like contrast, saturation, hue and more, and also, of course, being able to change any color in any other color you want. Once you're done editing your image, you can switch to the 3D mode, and a 3D model will be automatically generated. You can inspect the model on the right by rotating and zooming on it. Each color of your image will represent a different color slice in the 3D model. You can arrange the order of the slices however you prefer, but the default order will start from the darkest perceived colors to the lightest. You can also change the thickness of each color slice, the layer height of the print, as well as the height of the base and pixel size. The pixel size will determine the length and width of the final 3D model, and consequentially the amount of detail in it. Since the app doesn't automatically take into account the transmission distance, I recommend reducing the colors in the image into more than the number of filaments you have. For example, if you only have black and white filament, you might want to have at least 4 to 8 different colors in your black and white image. This way you can play around with the thickness of the white layers, some of which will become different shades of grey, depending on your settings. Of course, all of this is up to you and you can adjust the image however you want. The app also contains a transmission distance test image that you can use to predict how your filament will behave in different scenarios, which might save you a lot of time. When you are happy with your model, you can download the STL file, load it into your preferred slicer and follow the instructions generated in the bottom of the 3D mode section. And you're done. You can start the print and wait for your awesome image to be finished. I think this project has a lot of potential, because I made a Reddit post showcasing it a few weeks ago, and it did pretty well. You can try the project on Kromacut.com, the app is free for both personal and commercial use, and the project is open source of course. I'll leave the links in the description for everything I talked about. And while you're there, I'd really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed to motivate me to keep working on projects like this and make more cool videos. And now for a short announcement. Since I put a lot of time and effort into these projects and videos, and because YouTube pays me peanuts, you can also support me on Patreon. I offer stuff like early videos, bi-weekly posts, builds and source code from some of my private projects, special Discord roles, shoutouts at the end of videos and more. I'm also working on a secret game project which you can find more about there, so it's worth checking out. And thanks to everyone who has discovered and joined my Patreon so far. That's it for this video. Don't forget to click all the YouTube, Discord and Patreon related buttons, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya!